Is back with us. Actually, Fred was here, a few days ago, but for a whole different subject matter.
About a week ago, but that was for
How'd
the
the
Turkey
spaghetti supper
Bazaar.
go?
It went fantastic.
Yeah? Did you make a lot of money?
I'm not one involved in the finances, so I can't.
Don't know. Don't ask that question. Sure.
I'm just a worker.
He's a
I'm not a
worker bee. He's a worker bee.
Well, anyway, we asked Fred to change hats and come back as our author.
Thank you.
And when did you write the first book, Fred?
I wrote the first book back in 2003, published it in 2005, and that's the one, Soul-to-Soul Conversations with Jesus. And that has to do with my interior dialogue with Jesus from the age of, the first memories I have through today. And I stopped it about 10 years ago and published it, but then just about a month ago I updated the last 10 years and added it in there.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, very good. And then you kind of continued, that kind of thought, you got the bug, I guess, and decided, oh, look, this is good. So then I guess is the next one Through the Gates of Hell? Through the Gates of Hell.
Okay. Now, there's scripture bases throughout the entire thing, but it was a fictitious journey of a soul, neuter general, time general, you don't know. So anybody could identify, and it goes into hell, and unlike Dante, he's not a visitor passing through, he gets stuck there. And the 7 levels of hell, which are the 7 deadly sins.
Okay. Yeah. Was there a lot of research that had to be done when you were writing your books?
Yeah. Well, the first one, no.
Right.
But the second one and the others, I try to add as much authenticity as I can. But again, they're fiction. The first one's not fiction.
Right.
But the others are fiction, but they're plausible fiction.
Right. Right.
And I deliberately throw errors of location or something in there. Somebody found an error and said, "You made an error here." I said, "No, I didn't." "Yes, you did." I said, "No, I didn't." I said, "Why?" "Because this is fiction. Everybody keeps running out." For instance, in Decade, they're trying to find the abandoned insane asylum. And I've had people come up and talk about Mirrored and Thibodeau, and did that really happen, and did the storm and so on and so forth. It
So they're all fiction, but you base them on scripture.
Well, the first one isn't, but the other 4
excuse
are.
me. Yeah, okay. But you base them on scripture,
yes.
Right? Okay. So is this something that you've always kind of wanted to do something like this, or did it just kind of evolve? Or
I had stories in my head for as far back as I could remember, but I was busy with school and then work and raising a family and so forth. And after my wife and I retired up here, after about a year, I looked around and thought, well, I can't keep watching the cows graze, and for the next blade of grass to come up, for them to come up and eat on it. I've got to do something. So I said, I'll heal my memories. So I started writing the first book. And people read it and they liked it, and they say, "When are you going to publish it?" And I really didn't want to publish it right away, but eventually I did. And my mind swung in the opposite direction. Well, I want to keep people out of hell. Okay. I don't want anybody to go there, so I did that one, and it led to another one and another one. And by the time I got to Mirrored, I had found my genre of supernatural thrillers.
Okay. So that's kind of what this is. The last books are about then.
Yeah, Mirrored is the first, and Decade is the second. I'm working on Coin, the third one, in probably about a 13-book supernatural thriller series.
And that seems to be really hot topic right now. TV programs, books, everybody seems to be really kind of delving into that and really exploring that. It seems like, what is it? What's that one that the TV program that's got the zombies, the living dead?
Yeah.
Walking Dead. Okay, that's it. I mean, I can't tell you how many of our Facebook friends like Walking Dead. I've never actually seen it. It doesn't really appeal to me, but apparently it appeals to a lot of people, so it's kind of a hot topic right now. Yeah.
Well, what I write about with the series is how demonic entities actually, they can't really manifest themselves. If they do, it's for a very short period of time. But they psychologically mess with people, their emotions, their attitudes, and they can manifest making storms even more intense and so forth. So they mess with us, and they make us, without us really realizing it, do things we normally wouldn't do. And
It's a good point.
yeah, well, what is more frightening? You know, a zombie comes up, like you said, The Walking Dead, you stab it in the head and it's gone. But how do you deal with something you can't grab a hold of?
Right.
How do you defend yourself against it, and how do you find out what it is to deal with? That's, you know, and you never know where or when it's going to attack or how it's going to attack.
This
That's-
reminds me of The Exorcist in a way, because it consumed this poor little girl. You know, so there wasn't anything physical out there that they could see, but there was something inside of her that was really, you know, it was the devil, whatever it was, you know. So it sounds like that's kind of where you're going with some of this, then. I
Yes,
suppose?
it can be one or more individuals that are messed with.
Okay.
So you could be talking to somebody that you think is perfectly fine and your best friend, and they're not aware of it, but they're being influenced also. And, you know, it's the frightening thing about it, you know. What is this? How is this? How can I defend myself?
Okay, I want to interrupt because we mentioned at the beginning you're going to give away 5 books.
Yes.
First 5 callers, they're autographed, and just one per person.
Right,
So
there's just, I only have these, I'm giving gifts away. The
Right.
first book, the second book, third, fourth, and fifth.
Okay.
So there's only 5 books, and I don't have control over who gets what. So
Right.
they're
First come,
they're
first served.
autographed, and you know,
Right.
but I guess they'll have to come down here to the studios
Yeah.
to
Right.
pick them up.
Right.
Right.
Okay, now back to the
There's 4
the
books left.
Stories.
Okay.
Okay, back to the stories in the book. You've kind of described the bad guys, but who's the good guy?
Well, the first 3 books revolve around the love relationship, and everything's clean in my books, by the way, you know, between Christine Albright and Jonathan Thibodeau, and their relationship and how it develops over a period of 3 books. And I've decided to make a change at the end of my 3rd book and take their lives in a direction. You know, a writer is always thinking ahead.
Right.
So that'll be a rather surprise toward the end of Coin, what's going to happen.
And why the name Coin? Where does that come
It
from?
comes from, the coin is during the middle of the 19th century, in the middle of the 1800s, in Russia, one of the czars wanted to have a commemoration coin with his picture on it. And somebody went ahead and they made a coin that he disliked. It wasn't up to his standards. So he had all the coins destroyed, and he had the coin maker who defied him executed. But one person slipped just one of the coins and smuggled it out. And that coin is so unique. It's just a piece of metal. But everybody who gets that coin, they'll do anything. They'll lie, they'll cheat, they'll steal, they'll murder to get that coin in their possession. And because the coin is just a piece of metal, but because it attracted so much evil around it by people wanting to hold on to it, it actually attracted demonic entities around it. You know, the familiar spirits want to stay with themselves and their own like kind. All right? So that's what is happening. So whoever ends up having this coin, most of the time they're totally unaware of what they're doing. They think it's natural and it's fine, but they're doing destructive and evil things. So you have to find out the history of the coin, who has the coin, and then how do you get that coin away and seal it up. And one of the biggest surprises I have, authors of fiction have characters that are always talking to them in their heads as the creative. And the least likely of all characters, one character came up and said, "I'm the bad one." And it took me even by surprise. As an author, I said, "Okay, you're it." But I'm not revealing who that is.
Well, of course not, because I've got to read the book. All right, and we're going to give people one more chance.
Right, and then also, where can people get the books?
There is a slide on there. I have a website that's I don't even remember all the, I'd have to pull out my card or whatever, but.
There we go.
Yeah, there we go. They're available in and print formats of all types. You can go to that website and click on, or simply go to, put my name in at Lulu, Lulu.com, the publishers. There's several different Lulu things, but go to the publishers and put my name in there under books, and it will bring up my 5 books.
Okay.
So they're widely available on Amazon, on Nooks, and you can get them in Kindle.
Great. Fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being here. And if we don't give them all away today, we're going to give them as prizes throughout the week when we do our trivia.
I appreciate that very much.
Well, we appreciate your donation, so I know our audience will really enjoy it.
Thank you, Fred.
Thanks.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you, Dennis, Jacqueline. Merry Christmas.
We'll be back with more right after this.